Hello, beautiful people. Hope everybody's having a great week. I want to start off by saying thank you guys. I really appreciate you very much. Thanks for the feedback. Thanks for listening, paying attention. Um, like I said, I know life is short. Everybody's got busy lives. So, those of you that are listening in or paying attention and giving me feedback, I really appreciate that. Thank you very much. So, grateful for you guys. Thank you. I had some really interesting conversations with some friends this week, and I wanted to share with you some of the things that were shared in those conversations, and hopefully they can help you or help me reflect on this later. Like I said, I like to make these videos so I have something to look at, and a lot of times when I'm talking, I'm here by myself, but whenever I'm talking, I'm hoping I can come back to this at a later date. It'll bring something to me, and I'll hear it. Hearing me say it like I'm talking to myself will help me. But in those conversations I had this week, I talked with someone that's sort of going through a process of not drinking, and like me, they spent most of their life just being a daily drinker, and they're kind of new to it, and it's just talking about the challenges that come along with it and what life is like and how things are different, and she was having not really doubt or fear about hanging out with some friends that she's known for a long time, and that's just typically what they do whenever they hang out. They drink a lot, not drink a lot, but that's just what they do. They have drinks, and I shared with her my experience of whenever I stopped drinking, I lost a lot of friends, and it's not anything negative or bad about them. It's just a change of pace for you, and when you don't do that thing, typically those friends you don't keep for much longer because you no longer just you've changed your behavior. It would be like anything else. If I played pickup basketball at the Y on Thursdays and I quit doing that, I would probably not be seeing those friends very often because that was our thing. That's what we did. So she had some fear about having the temptation to drink while she's hanging out with these friends, and then also the potential of maybe losing these friends over time. And I shared with her that I lost a lot of friends along the way, and it wasn't bad about them or bad about me. It was just we were just interested in different things at that time, and the things that I wanted had changed, and didn't mean I had any ill feelings towards those people, and I didn't think differently of them or negatively of them. And I don't know how they felt about me no longer being a part of the group or a part of the drinking crew, but things just changed, and I lost some friends along the way. And after that conversation I had with her, the more I started thinking about losing people, I started thinking about just losing people in general. I This past Christmas, which is about 2 months ago, I sat down and kind of went through my phone, my contacts, and was wishing people Merry Christmas. And it really struck me how many contacts I have in my phone that aren't here anymore. And not just because we don't hang out anymore, we don't get together, but they're actually gone. And I still consider myself fairly young. I'm in my early 40s, but I guess I've just reached an age now where there are just more and more people that their time has come and they're not with us anymore. And I think about that a lot. Even some of these folks, if that are in my phone, and people that I know, they may have lost somebody that's important to them. A parent. A lot of them have lost children, which is something I don't understand how they cope with on it every single day. They're way stronger than me. They're incredible people to go through and be able to cope and manage the loss of a child. But it just reminds me of how short our time is here on this planet, and how we have such a finite amount of time to really do things in this life, and we spend so much of our time worried and stressed and thinking about things that really just don't matter. And a lot of that is comparing ourselves to other people and where other people are at on their journey. As human beings, we're in a sense a manifestation of our past and our experiences, and we are we are who we are because we grew up in a certain household in a certain day and age, and we lived with and without certain things and with and without certain life experiences, and we dealt with certain traumas, and everybody's different for that reason. And for some reason, at some point early on, we very often start comparing ourselves to other people, um, and a lot of that turns into, we start to think, what's wrong with us? What's wrong with me? Why am I different than this person? Why does this other person seem to have it together? Why does this other person seem to have all the luck? Why does this other person have better finances, or they're better adjusted to, living in society, or whatever the case is? We just get really caught up in comparing ourselves to other people and where they are in their journey. And one of the conversations I had with my friend this week, she just expressed, we were talking about like retirement and things like that, and she was sort of harboring some feelings of not being good enough, because she was comparing herself to where other people were, comparing herself to where other people were on their journey as far as education and retirement. And she's like, well, other people my age are doing this or doing that. And I tried to reassure her by telling her that you are exactly where you're supposed to be. You are exactly where you need to be. You're exactly where you're supposed to be. And the sooner you're aware of where you are, the better, because you can lose a lot of sleep. And I can attest to this, because I was this way and I'm still this way a lot. I think I try to compare myself to other people and where they are. And typically it's in a business standpoint, but in other ways it's in a personal standpoint. I have thoughts of, why does this other person look this way? Why does this other person behave this way? This other person seems to have all the answers. Their business seems to be better than mine or more prosperous than mine. I just compare myself constantly to these other people, and I try my very best not to do that, but the reality is we're human beings and we do that. We compare ourselves to other people. And I told her along the way, I've like I said, I've lost sleep. I've been stressed about it. Stress and worry and depression of not being good enough, not fulfilling whatever obligation I have to myself by not keeping pace with other people, or not being in the same category as them, whether it be business or personal or marriage and children and things like that. And at some point my mind shifted, even though I still part of me still lives in that sense of comparing myself to other people, because I think that's sort of natural as a human being to compare ourselves to other people. But as somewhere along the way, I started really looking at myself and not trying to compare myself to other people, but trying to compare myself to who I was yesterday. I was trying to get better a little bit every single day, finding ways to be a better me and not compare myself to other people, and strictly focus on being better than I was yesterday. And that is a difficult road and a challenge that I hope everybody takes on. But part of that, at some point, this light bulb goes off in your head and you realize that, comparing yourself to other people is difficult and it's stressful, and it causes you sort of anxiety and depression and things like that. But when you start trying to compare yourself to who you were yesterday, and you really start paying attention to yourself, you realize that you actually start losing more sleep, and you start to worry more, and you start to become almost more depressed, because you start to really understand the God-given talent and potential that you have, and you start to realize that you haven't lived up to your potential. And that is actually way scarier and way more depressing, and causes way more anxiety, realizing that you're not your best. While you've spent all these years, all these hours, all this time comparing yourself to other people, worried about where they are and what they're doing on their journey, a huge portion of your life has gone by, when really all you had to do was focus on yourself, focus on where you are and where you want to be, and the things you want to be doing, and the goals that you have. And then when you realize how much of your time you've wasted worrying about other people and not focused on yourself, a whole nother level of stress kicks in, because then you start trying to outdo yourself, which is really where you should have been to begin with. But you realize how much time you wasted, and how much energy and life force you wasted paying attention to the wrong thing. And that becomes extremely stressful all in itself, because then you start to get down on yourself, because you realize what you should have been doing the whole time, and you realize that you're nowhere near your potential. You're nowhere near where you should be, not because of where other people are, but because you're not using all of your gifts and you're not using all of your potential to get to where you are supposed to be. Where you are for a reason, but once you start realizing the potential that you have, and start comparing yourself to where you were yesterday and where you can be today, one, your progress will accelerate tenfold. But like I said, it does come with an extra layer of stress and anxiety, and it does cause some depression because you realize that you've wasted time, and you try not to think about those things. You try not to think about the time that you've spent. You try to chalk it up to experience and a learning, a time of learning, and that's the best way I can deal with it and cope with it. All the years of my life that I feel like I wasted, I just try to look at it like, hey, I learned what not to do. I picked up a few skills along the way, and I just try to make the best of it now, because time is short. I'm in my 40s. I don't know where most of you are, but life is short. Like I said, I was going through my phone. I realized how many people had passed on, and everybody's going to go someday. Everybody's got a day where it just all stops. It just all goes away, and all these things, all this stuff, all this property. One day you're going to be gone, and you're just going to leave a bunch of stuff behind, and all those things that mattered so much. When I think back of all the things that I wanted so badly, whatever they were, whether it was a piece of property, whether it was a vehicle, whether it was a shoes, hat, a computer, just anything that I wanted it so desperately, and I wanted it so badly. And now I can't even think of what those things were. Like I said, I'm in my early 40s, and when I was 23, 24, the things that I wanted, I don't even have a clue what they were. I could not tell you to save my life what those things were that consumed everything that I thought about and did at the time, because I was in pursuit of something, and I don't even know what that thing is now. And like I said, at some point, it's all just going to be put in a box, and that's it. It's all going to come to a stop, and none of it's going to matter. All that stress, all that worry for things, for stuff, is just going to be for naught. It's going to be over with. And I think about that more and more. Like I said, when I look at my phone contacts, and I think about the people that have passed on, and it being their time, and they're gone. And of course, we'll always have our memories. For as long as we live, we'll have those memories of these people. But it just really helps me think about and focus on things that are, what is important to me. What things do I have to get done in this lifetime, and not comparing myself to other people, because they're at some point they're going to pass on too, and they're just going to leave a few boxes of stuff behind also. And their journey has really nothing to do with mine, nothing at all. So I just try to figure out what it is I'm going to leave behind that's not stuff. How I impact people, how I treat people, how I get through my day, and the people I come in contact with, and the ripple effect I have with people's emotions, and the way people perceive the world, and the way they perceive society, and what impact I can have on that. And hopefully it's a positive impact, and hopefully I'm a better me today than I was yesterday, and I keep working on that. But hopefully I'm doing it for the right reasons. Like I said, we're all going to be gone someday, and it's all going to be just a box of stuff. So when I think about losing people, there's lots of ways to lose people. You can lose people by life choices. You can lose people by changing your habits. You can lose people by changing your hobbies. You can lose people in your life by not drinking, and those people are just no longer in your life. There's lots of ways to lose people. You can pass on, they could pass on. So there just comes a time I'm sure several times in your life, where you have to make a decision, and you can't let other people and how they feel and how they perceive you and what you should and shouldn't be doing, or even their perception of where you are. You can't let that influence your progress, or your journey, or your path, or where you're going, and what you're supposed to be doing. Your life has meaning. Your life has purpose. You were put here for a reason, and it's just important that you fulfill that. And I think that's will help you, and me specifically. It helps me in pursuit of whatever that is. Helps me figure my life out, figure out what I'm supposed to be doing here. and losing people along the way in different capacities, whether it's by leaving this world or changing hobbies or becoming parts of different groups, because human beings, we sort of cluster up with similar hobbies and things that we like to do, and people kind of come and go from our lives for different reasons. So if you're thinking about or stressing or worrying about where you are in comparison to other people, I hope you get over that hump and start looking at yourself in the mirror, and you start thinking about where you're supposed to be based on who you are and what you're equipped with, and what you were put here to do versus what other people were sent here with and what they were equipped to do. And there's a really smart guy, his name is Zig Ziglar, and he's passed on now, but he's got a great quote. It goes something like, start from where you are with what you have. You can't think about the past. You can't think, well, hey, like right now I'm 42. I can't think, hey, I'm 42 and I've wasted all this time and it's too late to start and it doesn't matter now. It's already all gone. My best years are behind me, or whatever the case is. I just have to start every single day, every single morning. And even if I'm having a bad day, sometimes I got to reset right in the middle of the day and be like, hey, I can't let this bad morning take over my whole afternoon or the rest of my day. I've got responsibilities, I've got duties. And if you pursue every single day like that, if you say, hey, I've had a bad life up until this point, it doesn't have to continue. It doesn't have to be, your whole life doesn't have to be bad because it's been bad up to this point. I think I talked a little bit about this when I went through a really, really difficult bout with being suicidal. And a lot of those feelings and those emotions came because I felt like my life had been painful for the most part up until that point, and I didn't see any point or purpose in continuing that. If life was going to be painful for 35 or 40 years, I couldn't deal with that much more pain and suffering for 35 or 40 more years, and it just seemed like the right thing to do was to put myself out of my misery. And thank God I got over that and got through that, and God's helping me with that every single day to get through that challenge and through that battle. And but now when I go through my day, like I said, I have to realize that I may not be where I want to be, and I may not be where I should be, because I made a lot of bad choices and a lot of bad decisions. But every single day I got to wake up and set the stage for, this is where I am, this is what I have, and this is what I have to work with. If you're into sports, you hear a lot of head coaches at the highest level. They always talk about if there's a high-profile player that's injured or suspended or whatever the case is, the coach will tell them, like, hey, we're gonna go play the game, and we're gonna start who's eligible and who's healthy. And that's the reality of it. Every single day, you've got to take whatever you have and give it 100%. You got to give it your all. You got to start that day, whether you have everything you think you need, or whether you have your star player, or you have your best attitude, or you have your best anything really. If you feel like you have to have the best to get started, you're in a deep mess. You've got to start. If you've got nothing, you got to start with nothing. And if you can't start yesterday, then you need to start today. So some really good advice is to forget about the past, forget about yesterday, and start from where you are with what you have. Wishing and hoping for more, and wishing and hoping for better, and wishing and hoping to turn the clock back, it's just going to waste more of your time. So sit down with yourself, write out what it is you think you or what you should be doing with your life. And even if you don't know what the answer is, start with the minimum. Start with what you don't want. Start with, hey, I'm sick of eating like this. I'm sick of partying like this. I'm sick of whatever it is you want to get out of your life, and make a conscious effort every single day to make some progress on that one thing or those couple of things, and it'll start snowballing. You'll pick up some momentum. Little things. It doesn't take a lot to get going in the right direction. It does take time. It's not easy. It's not simple. But if you get started, whatever they say, if the best time to plant a tree is 40 years ago, and the next best time is today. So you can plant a tree today, and if you take care of it and you water it, you'll have a lot going for you in a very short period of time. And just like if you're into exercising and working out, you know, you can't go to the gym once and expect to see any kind of results. It's gonna take time. It's gonna take a little bit every single day, and then you're gonna look back in 3 months and 9 months and 2 years and 5 years, and you're not even gonna recognize who you used to be. I remember watching these TV shows years ago, whether it would be on addiction or on weight loss, and you would see these people post transformation. You know, these people had lost 200 pounds, you know, they lost a whole person over the course of a couple of years, or people that had been addicts for their majority of their life, and they had been clean and sober for 6 months, a year, 5 years, 8 years. But they would show you pictures before their transformation when they were extremely obese and overweight, or they would show you whenever they were, you know, in the depths of their addiction, and how badly they looked physically, things that they were doing, if they were, you know, lying, cheating, stealing to feed their addiction. But they would talk about, they would show you pictures of them pre-transformation, and you would see them post-transformation. They wouldn't even look like the same person, but they almost always would say the same thing. They would almost always say, I don't even recognize that person. I don't even know who that person is. And when I saw those episodes and I heard these people talk about it, I thought they meant physically. Like if they had lost 200 pounds and they'd lost a whole human being, I thought they were saying, I don't even recognize that person physically. Or if they were an addict and they were sober at this point, I thought they were saying, I don't even recognize my body the way it was. But after going through some form of transformation that I've gone through, it's the inside that they don't recognize. They can't even relate to who that person was mentally when they were 200 pounds overweight. They can't even relate to who that person was that was strung out on drugs or alcohol or whatever the case is. And I see that now, and I understand that now, because I see pictures of myself, 15, 20 years ago, and it's just unrecognizable. Like, I don't even know who that person was, And that's not to say that I'm somebody special now, or I'm important now, or anything like that. Maybe just different, I don't even know if I would say better. I feel better. I feel different. I hope it's better, but I don't even recognize that person. And I understand now when somebody says that they don't recognize somebody, even if it was themselves 200 pounds ago or strung out 2, 3, 4, 5 years ago, when they see those pictures and they say they don't recognize them. I finally understand what that means. And if you're in a place that you don't want to be, or if you're in a difficult place or stressed out, anxious, worried state, or if you're not living a healthy lifestyle, whatever that means to you, I hope that you take whatever small steps every single day to look in the mirror and try to be a little bit better than you were yesterday, because the feeling that you get when you look at those pictures, and even when I talk to friends and we even chat about old stories and old things that I said and did, I'm just like, wow, like that's crazy. That's crazy to think that I behaved that way, that I said those things, that I did those things, that I lived that life. And I hope if you're in a place right now that you don't want to be, I hope you take the small steps, and you in some point in the future, and again, it's never too late. You start from where you are with what you have. And I hope in a very short period of time, and over the course of a long period of time, you can look back and see yourself and be like, man, I don't even know who that was. Who was that person that was, stressed out and worried and anxious and in pain and suffering and obese and lonely and strung out? I hope and pray that you get that that feeling of relief, that feeling of accomplishment. And from my experience, I don't know how you'll get there, but from my experience, that sort of transformation only comes from upstairs. And I pray that comes into your life. I always thought it was strange when people said, that they found God and God didn't find them. Like, why don't you say God found you instead of you found God? And it finally clicked that, you know, God's there all the time. He's always with you. He's everywhere all the time, and he's just waiting for you. And I hope you find him, because he's there. He's waiting for you. And if it wasn't for him, I know I probably, that's not a good way to say that. I wouldn't be here. I know that for sure. So I hope you, your transformation starts soon. I hope it starts today, because it can't start yesterday. And there's another really smart guy that says something. He's also passed on, but his name is Jim Rohn, and he says that if it's easy to do, it's easy not to do. And that's like some really simple advice, but man, it's so true. If it's easy to do, it's easy not to do, you know? If it's easy to go to bed on time, if it's easy to eat right, if it's easy to make your bed, if it's easy to do your best, if it's easy to go to the gym, if it's easy to be kind, if it's easy to, you know, all these things that they're so easy to do, it's so easy not to do those things, you know? So if you just, you know, I'm a simple person, like I really am. I didn't make my bed for a long time. Like that wasn't a thing. I thought making my bed was like the dumbest thing in the world. Like that's stupid. I'm like, who's got time for that? Who cares? Like who cares? I'm gonna get in this bed, I'm gonna mess it up, and then in 14, 16 hours, I'm gonna get in it and just mess it up again. What's the point? Like same with doing dishes. I hate doing dishes. But now I make my bed every morning, and I wash the dishes as soon as I put them in the sink. And those things are really easy to do. They're really easy to do, and they're also really easy not to do. So I hope you find the things in your life that you can control, because there's so many things in this life that you can't control. And you get caught up in those things. You get caught up in, for me, the big things that I get caught up in are, you know, taxes and politics, and trying to control every little thing that our employees do. I try to control every little interaction. I try to control too much. And then I realize I just have to take a step back, take a deep breath, and control the things that I can control, you know. I can make my bed. I can wash my dishes. I can take my dog for a long walk. I can manage my anger. I can watch what comes out of my mouth. I can say thank you more often. I can appreciate people. I can take somebody aside and tell them how much I care. I can pull people aside and tell them how much of a difference maker they are. There's things that I can do, these really simple, easy things that I can do that make a difference. But man, those things are so easy not to do. And life comes at you fast. Life comes at you fast, man. And like I said, before you know it, it's gone. It's over with. And then you can't go back and do those easy things. You can't go back and say, I'm sorry. You can't go back and say, thank you. You can't go back and make better decisions. You can't go back and plant that tree. You can't go back and start that business. You can't go back and make that investment. You can't go back and do those things that were so easy to do. And we just don't do them. We just don't do them because they're so easy not to do. So I'm gonna wrap it up. I've been rambling for a little while, but I hope this helps you. Like I said, I'm gonna watch this later, and I hope it helps me. But I hope it means something for you. I hope and pray a transformation, if that's what you need is coming your way. I think I mentioned this to you before, but you were put here for a purpose, and you were put here with meaning and with intention. It is no accident whatsoever that you are here today, alive in this place at this time around these people, and that is very purposeful. And we as a society, we as a culture, we as a community need your very best from you. And it starts with a decision to do that and to give that and to be that. And like I said, I hope you become fully you as soon as possible. And I hope you become who He's designed you to be, because the world needs you. The world needs you desperately. Needs your influence, needs your impact, needs your gifts, and only you have those. And you're not meant to take those with you to the grave. And sadly, that grave is coming sooner and sooner every single day. Every single day that goes by, you're one day closer, and you don't know how many days you got left. Could be 50 years, could be 5 days, so not trying to be morbid. I'm not trying to be all Debbie Downer on you and get you thinking about dying and things like that, but it's just something to think about. You need to be conscious of it's not going to last forever, and today's just as good a day as any to start doing the things and start living the life and be that person that you can be. And I pray that for you. I really do. So I'll quit rambling, let you guys go. I really appreciate you guys. You guys are awesome. I love every single one of you, and I want the best for you. Every single one of you, I want the best for you. And when my days are over and when my days are gone, I just hope that you do reach your potential, and you continue every day between now and then to continue reaching for it. And I want what's best for you. I want a long, healthy, happy life. Life's difficult. There's a lot of stress. There's a lot of worries. There's a lot of challenges and difficulties. And I hope those things don't consume you, because it's beautiful. It really is. And there's a lot to live for, and there's a lot of meaning in this. And there's a lot of value in this. And you're awesome. You're awesome. And we need you. We need you. So I love you guys. Thank you for paying attention. Thanks for listening. I know I talk too much, but I love you guys. Thank you, and we'll see y'all later. Bye.